All right, hi everyone. I just wanted to do a little bit of a summary video of what we learned so far and mainly dealing with number lines. So the first thing I want to look at is when you zoom in and just kind of the structure of a number line. So say I give you 2.418, and again, if the directions say plot, that means that you are literally going to have to put a dot. You can't just label things, you have to plot the point. So say I ask you to zoom in and plot this. So we have 2 and for the decimal point, and then we have 418, so 418, and that's in the tenths, hundredths, thousandths position. So this would be 2 and 418 thousandths. And so to start out with, we're going to make our number line, right? And we're going to keep zooming in, so I'm just going to make a few here. And I don't know how many times we're going to have to zoom in. I'll make 3. And again, big ticks are on the end. And remember, it takes 9 little ticks to make 10 segments. And again, it's usually a good idea to do the halfway mark. And then there'd be 4 over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that should work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 segments, but 9 little ticks. And then I'm going to just go ahead and you can kind of, once you get the first one good, you can kind of eyeball the line above to make sure they work out nice. So, and again, if they're really off, you probably should redraw them. Okay, so first of all, this is between 2 and 3, so I'm going to have my big ticks be the ones position, which mean my little ticks are one place value down, which would be tenths. So this is like 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, and we can't be lazy, unfortunately, because mathematically that would not be true. And this is a good check because after 2.9, it should go to 3. All right. So 2.4 would be here, and then you kind of were way less than half because it's 2.4 and then a 1 and an 8. So we would be close to 2.4. So again, I'm going to plot it. I'm not going to put an arrow there. I'm going to put a dot. I'm going to put a point. All right, so now what I want to do is I want to zoom in on this guy. So I'm going to take this guy and put it down here, so 2.4. And again, it's kind of like we're doing that, okay, except I'm kind of taking it and pulling it out because I don't have a microscope handy in a math class. Okay, now if you notice, my big ticks are tenths, so that means my little ticks are hundredths. So this would be 2.41, 2.42, 2.43, 2.44, and 2.45. And if your 5 isn't in the halfway mark, something's wrong. 2.46, 2.47, 2.48, 2.49, and then we get to 2.5. So that's a good check. All right, so now we're going to plot it again. So we have 2.41. Now notice 8 is after that, so I am really close to right. So, oh, did I get off? Oh, sorry. Ignore that. I'm over here, 2.418. So I'm going to be about right here. Okay, so I'm past half, and I'm almost to 2.42. So, all right, this is why you don't use a pen, but I know it's more visible for you guys. So 2.41, and then 8 would be right there. All right, now I'm going to zoom in on this guy. So again, it's like we're going woo and just getting really down into the DNA of that guy. But again, can't show that very well in a math class. So we're going to go between these two. So it's kind of like this end goes here and this end goes here. And now our big ticks are hundredths, which means our little ticks are thousandths. So this is going to be 2.411, 2.412, 2.413, 2.414, 2.415. And again, if that's not halfway, we're probably doing something wrong. 2.416, 2.417, 2.418, and 2.419. And again, by labeling them all, we have a good check to make sure then that would come over to 2.42. All right, so now 2.418, if I look, is actually on a tick mark. So I zoomed in enough to get that guy onto a tick mark, which is exactly what I want. So that's awesome. All right, the other thing to remember when dealing with number lines is that the big ticks, and we kind of talked about here, the big ticks, like if you're doing ones, these should be 1 apart. If you're doing tenths, these should be a tenth apart. If you're doing hundredths, these should be a hundredth apart. And then the little ones in between would be the next place value down. So whatever your ends are, your little ticks can only be one place value down. So for example, if someone gives me 4.2 and I have 4.3 over here, then I know my big ticks are tenths. So again, I'm going to cut my middle and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I know my little ticks have to be hundredths, because if my ends are tenths, they should be 1/10 apart. So then this would be 4.21 and 4.22 and so forth, okay? Kind of backwards. I could also do that backwards. So if I have my big ticks here, and again, my halfway, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I had an eraser, I'd fix that. Sorry. I'm going to redo that. Sorry, don't like it. Here's my halfway. Maybe I actually will use a pencil in case I don't like it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's better. All right, and then again, your ends, these are my big ticks. Okay, so if I put a point, like say on this tick mark, all right, and I label that, I don't know, whatever, 2. We could just do 2.3, I guess. Okay, so if that's 2.3, do you see how this is, the little tick is in the tenths? So that means the big ticks have to be a place value higher. So that means this has to be 2 and this has to be 3, okay? But I could do another example where, you know, say I have this, right? And say I'm not gonna be specific here, but say I give you whatever, a point here, and maybe you don't even know, well, say it is on a tick mark. Say you don't have the rest of the graph. So say this is kind of a little, I don't know, iffy. And I just put a point here that's, say, 3.82, okay? All right, and I'm not giving you the rest of the graph. I'm just giving you that this is on a little tick. Well, if this is on a little tick, all right, and it's on this kind of mysterious graph, if this is to the hundredths is a little tick, do you guys get that I know my big ticks would have to be, oh boy, that is not a straight line, Julie. I'm having a hard time today. This would be 3.8. Does that make sense for the big tick? Because big ticks are one place value up, so 3.8 on this side, and then 3.9 on this side. And again, I'm not saying I graphed that, you know, accurately, but it's like this mystery graph. But if it's on a tick, a little tick, and the little ticks are hundredths, then the big ticks have to be tenths. And I know that this number is between 3.8 and 3.9. So then I could know specifically that. All right, hopefully that helps a little bit with just the zooming in process and then just kind of the structure of how number lines should always work. All right, hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you soon.